Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar on Vietnam Outlook 2022 Business Trends and Policies Updates. What is next for businesses? Co-organized by Singapore Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Vietnam Trade Office in Singapore, and in partnership with Sinkindo Vietnam, Incorp Global, and UOB Bank. Now, just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. If you have any questions for the speakers, please feel free to submit them anytime during the webinar by clicking on the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. Now, we apologize in advance if we are not able to answer all questions due to the time constraints. Now, in the event of any technical issues during this session, we seek your kind understanding for the inconvenience caused, and please bear with us while we rectify the issue. Now, without further ado, let us start off with the webinar on Vietnam Outlook 2022 Business Trends and Policies Updates and what is next for businesses. Now, let's first welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Suan Teck Kin, Head of Research, Executive Director of Global Economics and Markets Research of UOB Bank. Now, Teck Kin will be sharing about the overall Vietnam economic outlook and what can businesses expect, where are some of the opportunities and challenges that Singapore companies should focus on. So, without further ado, Teck Kin, please.
Thank you so much, Tiffany, and good afternoon, everyone. And also thanks the Chamber for this opportunity to share with you how we look at Vietnam in terms of economic outlook and also opportunities and challenges. So let me share my screen here with you. Okay, I hope you can see the screen that is coming up soon. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen here on the Vietnam opportunities and challenges in this post-pandemic world. And today it is a very good, very opportune time, I would say, to host this webinar by Chinese Chamber and also our partners together with the Singapore Vietnam Trade Center. Is that today is the opening day for these SEA Games in Hanoi. So what can you say, right? Today is a really opportune day after being delayed because of the COVID. Now Vietnam is opening up, and also to celebrate the opening up, one of the things is, of course, this SEA Games that will be having its official opening today. All right, so now we are going to have our official opening here as well in Chinese Chamber, talking about Vietnam opportunities. All right, what are the opportunities that we have and also challenges in this post-pandemic world over the next 20 minutes or so. Okay, so basically I will update you from what we have studied and also researched at UOB, this on Vietnam and some of challenges from Russia-Ukraine geopolitical conflict, a bit of that, and also a recession risk as well that people are increasingly talking about. So while Vietnam open up, more tourists coming in, more activities locally, we also have challenges that we need to keep an eye on. Okay, so today is a good time to talk about these things. Okay, so I won't be able to go through everything in the next 20 minutes. If you need the information, please approach Chamber for the deck, and or also my colleague Michelle or Chi Yong, who will be able to help you to get access to this deck. Okay, Vietnam. Okay, from what we have here is that Vietnam has been a very resilient economy. You can see from here that the first quarter GDP has done very well. First quarter in Vietnam this year grew about 5%, right? Which is similar to the last quarter last year of 5.2%. So 5%, the latest number, 5.2% in the fourth quarter last year. So this is a year-on-year. So economic growth-wise, you can see that it's maintaining at a very resilient pace. Of course, during this pandemic period in third quarter last year, the Omicron, the shutdown, the companies, factories have to shut down, people have to stay home in Vietnam. As a result, you know there was a big decline, shrinkage, right, in the activities. But overall, you can see that the economy, the Vietnam economy has performed relatively well, maintaining even during the COVID period. So this says something about the resilience of the Vietnam economy. The reason why it's so resilient is because manufacturing sector has been performing well throughout the pandemic period, and also services sector picked up after the reopening in second half of last year. After the brief shutdown, lockdown, activities picked up. Okay, you can see from the comparison with other economies in Southeast Asia. Vietnam is a blue bar here, about 5%, right? Just now I showed you the number, 5%. You can see that the activities have been actually quite resilient throughout the period, except during the worst COVID period, the blue bar, the worst COVID period last year, and also during 2020, remember when the first COVID-19 struck. So you can see that the Vietnam economy has been quite strong in terms of dealing with this COVID situation, compared to, for example, most of the economies during 2020, really dropped sharply, right? Really dropped sharply into the negative. This is negative below zero. So Singapore, minus 14%, 13%, that kind of thing in second quarter in 2020, and many countries also facing the same problem. So when there's a rebound, the Vietnam economy has been quite steady, rather than seeing a big drop, big surge, and then a big drop. Has been relatively steady compared to others, right? So far the number, Indonesia also grew about 5%, and Philippines, I think the number just came out just this morning, late afternoon or late morning, also performed better than expected, right? So only a few economies are able to perform in a very consistent manner. So what is the driver behind Vietnam? First, the manufacturing sector. You can see that from 2019 or even further back, this growth in the manufacturing sector. I'll show you later what are the key manufacturing items or export items. So it has been the main driver here. And services, you can see the services are tied together with the headline growth number very closely, right? So this services sector, your restaurants, your wholesale, your retail, your tourist related activities, food and beverage and all that. You can see that the pickup from the COVID in 2020 very nicely until the Omicron hit in third quarter last year and fourth quarter last year, right? So there was some setback and then rebound again in the services sector. So both the manufacturing and services help to boost up. So the outlook for Vietnam this year, I think, should be quite positive. Okay. One of the reasons why manufacturing has been performing well is because of exports. You can see from here, the top part, the chart, the exports have been in double digit, 25% in the latest number year on year, 25% year on year. That's a very strong number, one quarter, right? And this is not just for that month. And for during the recovery period from fourth quarter last year, you can see Vietnam exports have been performing very well, except during this period, third quarter, when factories close down, companies cannot operate, then you have the setback during those period. But otherwise, aside from those period that were shut down, the activities have been performing. The export performance have been doing quite well. All right, and that is also compared to, like, for example, 2017 or 2018, 2019. Even compared to those periods, the recent performance of the external trade or the export sector for Vietnam have been very, very strong, even compared to before COVID. Okay, so that is the key driver for the manufacturing sector and also for the overall economy, employment, income of the people. Why is the export so strong? Why export so strong? Because you're producing something that is being demanded, and at the same time, the supply chain shifting to Vietnam has helped to boost this export sector. What are the things that Vietnam export that they're being demanded in the rest by the rest of the world? You have these mobile phone related sector, 21 billion already so far this year, compared to 12 months ago, the same 4 months last year, 18 billion, right? So there's 16 billion year on year, 16% year on year growth in telephone, mobile phone related items. You have computer, electronic related items, and also machinery. All these all double digit, even for the textile, 20% increase in the exports of textile and garments related product and footwear as well. So all these contributing to very strong exports performance, and these are the key sectors at this point attracting investment, where the growth and the actions, the supply chain surrounding these sectors that are doing very well. And when you do well, all these success will attract more success, and supply chain shifts will continue on, and then to revolve around these main sectors that Vietnam is doing very well in, performing very strongly in. Okay, so as a result, foreign investors are also taking notice, right? So they're pouring in capital into the country through what we call foreign direct investment. So these are not your buy stock, buy bonds, sell, and then sell the next day and buy again 1 week later, that kind. So these are the foreign direct investment. We are serious to set up business in Thailand, the FDI, set up business in Vietnam, in Vietnam for the long haul, for the long term, right? So these are FDI into Vietnam, also doing very well, even despite the COVID years of 2020 and 2021, right? So the numbers, these are from Vietnam Statistics Agency. You can see that the number in these 2 years are about 20 billion per year going into Vietnam. About the same as 2019 before COVID, actually stronger compared to those previous years before COVID. All right, so this year so far, for the first 4 months, it's already about close to $6 billion into the country, FDI into the country. So if you multiply by 3, right, 4 months, multiply by 3, so you are talking about at least 18 billion or so. So on track to match last year's number, if not even better, because it's only first 4 months. So we are going to see what happens in the second half of this year or the subsequent 8 months, when I think these activities are picking up. When borders reopen even more investors will be coming in, more businesses will be business people will be coming in. You can see that you should expect the activities or the investment flow to pick up is the speed. Okay, so in terms of FDI, what are the key sources? Where are they coming from? Where did they come from? From which country? So in Singapore, the main investor in Vietnam, right, followed by the traditional ones, the Korea. You look at the amount invested by Singapore compared to the Korea and Japan and also China, which is very high. Singapore is about 11 billion in 2021. This is a registered capital. That means you registered with the Vietnam authority that you're going to invest how much, not the actual flows, the registered capital, they call that, or the indication of your interest. About 11 billion, which is close to the combined total of Korea and Japan plus China in 2021. And then in 2020, similarly, very strong, also a combined amount coming in from Singapore. So there's a lot of strong interest from Singapore, either from the local Singapore companies or companies that are registered in Singapore. Maybe they are from overseas but registered in Singapore, pouring in money into Vietnam. You can see that very strong interest coming from Singapore to Vietnam, and we have been the large investor over the past 2 years. And where do the money go to, or where did the money go to? I come from Singapore and Korea, Japan. Where did they go, right? So the top, this is in terms of billion, the top destination or the sector that attract the most amount of money, of course, manufacturing sector. This is the strength of Vietnam at this point. With a large labor force, we have a very strong export network, and also a very capable manufacturing sector. So naturally, will attract a lot of capital into that sector in manufacturing. 6 billion out of the 11 billion, so more than close to half already going in. And of course, real estate is another one. Infrastructure, this one includes the infrastructure, warehouse, and building facilities and all those, not just the traditional real estate or the residential buildings. Okay, so real estate business, of course, the rest a bit smaller, wholesale and other things. Okay, so a lot of money coming in from Singapore, Japan, Korea, China, and also going into the strong sector, those sectors with core strengths, right? The manufacturing sector. So how do we compare? If you compare Vietnam with the rest of other ASEAN neighbors, how are they doing? Aside from this 2020, unfortunately, we only have up to 2020 from these are data from United Nations. The latest is 2020 compared to 2019. You can see Singapore is always at the top, always at the top over the past, even compared to 2020. Always a top destination because Singapore is like a wholesaler. So we collect all this money and then we distribute out. right, to the different regions. Some of it we invest, some of this money investors we use for Singapore investment, but much of this money or the capital actually fan out to the rest of the world, especially in Southeast Asia. So Singapore, if you exclude Singapore, you can see that Indonesia and Vietnam are the top two investor destinations in Southeast Asia, the top two. Okay, of course, Indonesia has the advantage of a big commodities producer, being a big commodities producer, oil, gas, palm oil, copper, you name it, they have it, right? So, but Vietnam, as the other one without so much commodities, with strong capability in manufacturing, is the one of the top investor destinations in Southeast Asia. Even compared to the traditional ones like Malaysia, it's like about 4 times more in terms of flows going into Vietnam compared to Malaysia. Or unfortunately, in Thailand, there was an outflow in 2020 because of the big selling of these retail operations, etc., and all those things. So investors pull out. So there's a negative number there. But you can see that Vietnam, over the past few years, are the top investor destination. If you think back 2020, Vietnam is only about this, actually is receiving less money compared to Malaysia. So how things have changed dramatically over the past few years. Okay, so that is the favorite destination. And of course, in terms of outlook, we're still positive for Vietnam, and we are looking at, just now we saw 5% growth in the first quarter compared to 5.2% in the fourth quarter last year. Overall, for the full year 2022, we expect about 6.5% growth in Vietnam. So this is quite a decent number, because if you compare across Southeast Asia, only a few countries will see more than 6% growth. Singapore is about 3.5%. If you're lucky this year, we get about 3.5% economic growth. Okay, so last year, of course, 2.6% because of the big shutdown in the second half of last year in Vietnam. Factories closed down, businesses closed because of the COVID, all these circuit breaker that they have down there, the lockdowns that they have down there. So they actually suffer quite a bit of setback. But I think the rebound is due, and next year we should see about 7% or so for Vietnam. So that is a very positive picture, because if you look at most of our countries, 2021 was a good year, big rebound in 2020. In 2022, the numbers, the growth rate, for example, US, UK, and all that, is actually slower compared to 2021. And Vietnam and some of the Southeast Asian countries are the few exceptions where this year we'll see a rebound compared to 2021. So if you look at the top line, I think top line is very important for business planning. So you want to make sure that the top line for the country is continuing on an uptrend. Like for example, Vietnam and some of these Southeast Asian countries, either steady or uptrend. You want to make sure you have that you're operating in that environment, and that will help your own company's top line as well. And when you invest, you also want to invest in a company, in a country or place where the top line is on the way up, at least holding steady, if not on the way up. Okay, so that is the picture for Vietnam this year. Positive. Of course, we are going to get challenges. We are going to get quite a few challenges, which I will spend just a few minutes because 20 minutes coming up very soon. We're going to see some challenges and also risks ahead as well. While the domestic condition have improved, but external conditions are still quite difficult. Okay, so I'll just spend a few minutes talking about, just share with you what are the challenges, what are the risks that we need to watch. One of them, of course, is Russia-Ukraine political risk. I won't spend a lot of time, but you want to know what is the main cause. Hear from this the last US ambassador to USSR, why the Russia-Ukraine happened in the first place, and why why we should be paying attention, okay, to this hearing from the American. This is not what you normally will hear from the mainstream press. Okay, so okay, what are the things to watch out? We are not here to talk about war, but we are talking about implications. What are the implications? Russia is one of the major oil producers in the world. For example, the latest number is at 11 million barrels per day. So if you have sanctions on Russia, if you don't let the oil come out, so there will be a gap. So 11 million, about 4 million or to 6 million are being exported every day from Russia to the rest of the world in the past. Because of sanctions, so some of these oil cannot come out. If the oil cannot come out, there's a gap. That's the reason why it's at $100 per barrel and above. And that's the reason why you're paying, main reason why you are paying $3 in Singapore, $3 per liter for your, at least $3 per liter when you go to the petrol pump. Okay, so we are going to have this situation for a while. If the situation is not resolved, sanctions are still there. And then you have Russia is also a top producer, gas producer in the world, top gas producer. So the question is, if the oil and gas cannot come out, is there any one that can come up, or any countries that can come out and, okay, I'll replace all this? If the answer is maybe a bit, but not all, then we have a problem with our energy costs, right? So this is not just going to affect Russia and Ukraine, but it's going to affect the rest of the world. Everybody else, including Vietnam, including Singapore, which are petrol users, we are gas users, which are oil consumers. So will affect all of us. And when your energy costs go up, so you have to make sure that your companies are ready or able to manage these higher energy costs. Then the second thing is not just energy, but also food. Russia and Ukraine are major food exporters. So these are the two things. For example, sunflower seed oil. Why is it the cooking oil has become more expensive? Because Russia and Ukraine together, about half of the world's sunflower seed oil, cotton seed oil, etc., the cooking oil from Russia and Ukraine, more than half. So if this part is missing or become lesser, then the replacement, let's say your vegetable oil, will become more expensive. Okay, that's a simple fact. And plus other things like wheat, about 26%, barley, etc., all these you can see from the chart. Russia and Ukraine are big exporters and big chunk of the market, a big chunk of the world market. So if this part is affected, your energy costs, your food costs will go up, and that will create problem for inflation and for central bank. Okay, so that's the next thing that I want to share with you. And the last thing, my 20 minutes is actually up. So I just want to mention that recession risks are here, but we should not worry too much about it for the next 6 to 12 months. Okay, just my bottom line, next 6 to 12 months, don't worry so much about it. Continue with your business plan. We'll worry about it maybe next year, but not within the next 6 to 12 months. Okay, one of the key reasons why people are worried about recession is because the Fed has raised interest rate, right? 50 basis points in May, and Singapore interest rate all go up, etc. And we expect, for example, in Singapore, the 3-month SOR by end of this year, roughly going to be about double from the current level, 1.3% to 2.6%. So interest costs are going up. So once the Fed is doing this, hiking interest rate, it will bury the seed of the next recession. But how far or when is it going to come is really hard to say. But over the next 6 to 12 months, I think the risks are relatively low, right? Relatively low. Based on some of these factors that I have in the deck. I won't go through it because of time, but I'll just quickly mention a few factors here. In the few factors are in the deck itself, just to explain to you why the risks are quite low over the next 6 to 12 months, because some of these indicators are not 100%. We have other factors that say that, well, the US consumers, you focus more on US because it's the largest economy in the world. The US consumers still have money to spend and still willing to borrow money. So if these factors are still there, I think the recession risk will be lower. Labor market will continue. Unemployment rate will not shoot up. Okay, we'll hold on to the current level of 3.5 or whatever percent that is there. We'll be holding on steady and not see a recession in the next 6 to 12 months horizon. So in your business planning, you want to think about it, but you don't want to paralyze yourself and say, oh, recession coming, therefore I should cut back at this moment. So your business plan, you continue to do with your business planning, but keeping an eye on this topic, because next year we may need to think about it more seriously. Okay, finally, I'll just share all this data and things like that is available on the deck and also in the report indicated at the bottom. So you can click on the report for further information. I just want to share one last good work that our team has done or is continue to do is that, we produce this monthly forecast, this forecast every month on a monthly basis. You can go to our website and take a look at this. You have exchange rate forecast, interest rate forecast, commodities forecast, and I would say that our call for strong dollar since late last year, I think really playing out at this point. The strong US dollar continue to play out. Okay, I'll just stop here because I'm really 3 minutes over my time, and I'll hand the time back to Tiffany for the next speaker. Thank you so much for paying attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would definitely love to have you to continue because your presentation is really very interesting, to give us more, outlook about the upcoming economic trends. Yeah, but, moving forward, yes, we have to go on with the next speaker, okay? And the next speaker, second speaker we have with us is Mr. Cao Xuân Thắng. He's the first secretary of Vietnam Trade Office in Singapore. Now, Mr. Thắng will be presenting some of the latest Vietnam business trends and opportunities, key developments, and government incentives for foreign companies. So without further ado, Thắng, over to you. Hi, Thắng.
Yeah, yes. Hi. Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, guest speaker today is Ms. Đỗ Phương Dung, our Deputy Director General, ASEAN Africa Market Department of the Ministry of Industry and Trade. But unfortunately, she got sick and she lost her voice. So I will combine some information from mine and combine with her slide and try to express and share with you about the prospects and the information in Vietnam right now. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Thắng, we can see the screen. It's very clear.
Yeah, right. So I will start with the some overview of the Vietnam economy. As you might know, the Vietnam have an area about more than 330,000 square kilometers, and we have about 6.4% water. We have a 63 province and state city with the latitude is quite long, from the about 8 degrees of north to the about 23 degrees of north. So the different climate and the season in the whole the country is suitable for many kind of agriculture, forestry, and fishery. With a population about estimate about 98 million, as a density is about 295 people per square meters. With religion in Vietnam, this population is about the 26% of population are categorized as a religious believer, and with about 15% of Buddhism and about the 7.4% of Catholic. We have a very long coastline, about more than 3,260 kilometers, and we have a total about 296 seaports. Of course, it's including 10 new seaports added in early year of the 2022. We also have a very we have a lot of the industrial zone. For the whole country, we have about 563 industrial zones with about 210,000 hectares, according to the land use master plan for the period of the 2021 to 2030. With a revision of the 2045, we will add more about 177 industry zones with about 115,000 hectares. So combined with some major information in our economy, the economic structure of Vietnam divided into 3 major sectors: agriculture, forestry, and aquaculture is first. It about 30.97% of GDP. the number is based on the year of 2021. And the second is industry, including mining, mineral, processing industry, construction, production, and distribution of gas, electric, and waters. It contribute about the 63.8% of GDP based on the year 2021. And the third and the last is a trade, service, finance, tourism, culture, education, and health. It's distribute about the 22.23% of GDP. And Vietnam is the 14th attractive emerging markets in the world, according to the Bloomberg assessment. Some several indicators of year 2021, our GDP increased by 2.58% of the year 2021. It's the same trend with a positive for the 2020. We increased about 2.9, and year of 2019 we increased with 7.1% of GDP. The index for the industrial production, IPP, increased by 4.8%, and GDP per capita about $3,700 US. For the bilateral trades, in total of year 2021, we got 668 billion US dollar, increasing by 22.6%. Including a total export increased by 19%, we reached to 336 billion US dollar, while total import increased by 26.5%, reached to 332 billion US dollar. So for the overall balance export, we got about 4 billion US dollars. For foreign exchange, reverse of year 2021, we have 105 billion US dollars. The main export product of year 2021, the processing and manufacturer got the main portion, about 84%, followed by the agriculture and fishery about 9%, building and material got 6%, and fossil fuel and mineral is 1%. For the main import product, we also felt the highest portion for the processing and manufacturing, about the 81%, agriculture and fishery 5%, building and material well 6%, and fossil fuel mineral about 6%. You see all the main import products in Vietnam in 2021. For the main supplier, the main supplier is Asia, about 48%, followed by the European, the 15%, Oceania 2%, and America 34%, while Africa only 1%, and the other country will have a look. For the main importer of the year 2021, Asia import about 73%, while Europe import 10%, Oceania 4%, and America 11%, while Africa is only 1%. So it's the main area for the main importer of year 2021. The top foreigner investor for year 2021, we attract the FDI, the foreign direct investment, about 31.15 billion US dollar, increased by 9.2%. So although the biggest we got from the Singapore with about 10.7 million US dollar, while following the second position is the South Korea with 4.9 billion US dollar, followed by the Japan with about 3.8, China 2.9, and Hong Kong China is 2.3 billions of US dollar. For the recipient, we have three biggest recipient in province. Haiphong city got about 5.3 billion US dollar. With the biggest project is about LG display. Followed by Haiphong is the Long An province. Long An got about 3.8 billion US dollar, with the main the main field of the investment FDI is about energy, feed, and manufacturer. And Singapore is the biggest investor. And the third is Ho Chi Minh City, and Singapore also is the biggest investor. Ho Chi Minh City got about 3.7 billion US dollar from the FDI. So the information about the Vietnam and Singapore economic relations. The bilateral trade in 2021 reached about 8.3 billion US dollar, in which Vietnam export to Singapore reached about 4 billion US dollar, while Vietnam import from Singapore reached to 4.3 billion US dollar. And Singapore became the third largest trading partner of Vietnam, and in Asia. And Singapore is Vietnam's third largest foreign investor and largest investor in ASEAN, with a total investment about 62.55 billion US dollar, with 2,769 projects in Vietnam. The import and export product structure of Vietnam and Singapore really sustainable, focusing mainly on the processed and manufactured products such as computer, electric products and components, telephone and components. The advantage of trade cooperation between Vietnam and Singapore, proximity of the geography and culture and country, and not competitive, and the potential markets is large, and especially is for agriculture product. As you might know that now Singapore did only got the local food about 10%, and the strategy of the Singapore is that Singapore would like to produce locally about 30% of the food. So I think cooperation between Vietnam and Singapore about the agricultural product is quite potential. And the next is Vietnamese product are gradually being known and receive a good review for quality and price from importer. In the ASEAN, Singapore and Vietnam are two countries that have a signed FTA with UK and EU. So Vietnam and Singapore can utilize the capabilities to cooperate in exploiting the cumulative origin mechanism and jointly increase export to a third country. So it's an opportunity for Vietnamese and Singaporean company. And the last is promotes e-commerce and digital economy. Vietnam in years of 2021, we have about 64,000 firms in digital fields, and we aim to got about 100,000 firms in the year 2025, which equivalent to value about 57 billion US dollar. So why choose Vietnam? The first, we have a quite good competitive workforce. In year of 2018, we have 55 million people in the workforce, and in statistic of year 2021, we have about 57 million people. So it's quite a stable number of the workforce. And the average salary in Vietnam about 315 US dollar per month. So it's quite competitive labor force. And the second is geographic location and potential markets with about 98 million of population. So Vietnam is quite a potential markets, and with our graphical locations, we attract a lot of the foreign investor. Proactive global economy integration is also the reason we should choose Vietnam. And Vietnam also have a quite rich natural resources like oil, natural gas, coal, mineral, and forest and land. And we have supportive policies and flexible strategy. We can see at the GDP of the 2020 and 2021. We still increase with the positive growth despite the serious impacts of the pandemics. And the challenge of the Vietnam, we divide it to three. First, about the infrastructure, the electricity demand is higher than supply, so we got to curb it. And the traffic congestion and the lack of quality of road and traffic control. And the second about the educations being changed to adapt to the innovation. There is a inhomogeneous education and low labor productivity. And the third one is about business environment. We still need to improve for the sustainable development of the economy. But look at this challenge. Our challenge is the potential opportunity to investment and cooperation. The orientation of the Vietnam economic development, this 3 point. The first is the macroeconomic stability, and to promote the application of the science and technology. We are also improving the efficiency of the foreign investor, prioritizing projects with advanced technology, environment protections, and sustainable development. And Vietnam preparation for the investor. We preserve the industrial land. As you might know that in Vietnam now we have more than 560 industrial zones, and we preserve industrial land for about more than it's almost 76,000 hectares for industrial land, implanting with the 260 industrial parks with almost 19,000 hectares, and we under construction of the 93 industrial park with more than about 33,000 hectares under construction, and 55% industrial lands occupancy rate with established about the 17 economic zone with more than 65,000 hectares. And we are planning 2 economic zones with about 27,000 hectares. So the industrial land is prepared quite good for the investor. And for the fact of industrial lands, now we can see with the other province and state cities, with the column is industrial land, and with curve is occupancy rate. So now in Dong Nai and Bình Dương, the occupancy rate is very high, about more than 80% and more than 90% of the occupancy. And other provinces, we have still had a lot of land for industry. And now with the income tax intensive for business, we have several tax rates apply for several conditions and term of intensive application. For example, with 10-20% of tax rate in common CIT rates, and 70% apply for a condition for the project with a region with difficult social economic and conditions, and feed products for poultry, cattle, and agriculture machinery, and energy-saving products, high-grade steel, and traditional trade. So the term for the incentive about 10 years. And this enterprise, which have total sale of less than $20 billion, equivalent to 900,000 of US dollar for the whole investment period, and income from the small credit institution and small finance funds. And the tax rate will be 50% for enterprise and not difficult socio-economic conditions area, which are doing planting, breeding, processing of agriculture and fishery for the whole investment period. And tax rate will be 10% for region which particularly difficult socio-economic conditions, economic zones and high-tech zones, area of research and development, software, particularly important infrastructure, and environmental protection, and large-scale plans. So the term for the intensive application about 15 years. And for the project eligible for the preference tax exemption in several years, tax-free in maximum 4 years, and 50% tax rate for next 9 years. So all the regulation is in our legal documents. So investor would like to know, so just send our request. We will send you the legal document for your reference. And about our investment laws revision effect from the 1st January of the 2021 with the income tax incentives, we have a 6-year tax-free minus 50 years to reduce 50% compared with the preference tax rate. And this in the Clause 1 and Article 15 of the Enterprise Income Tax and Law. The time for the applications extended to less than 15 years, but not beyond the project implementation periods. And the condition in the investment projects that have a great impact on the socio-economic development, like a large-scale project over 30,000 billion Vietnam dong, and innovation center, R&D center. For the improvement of the investment environment, for the ratification of the Parliament, we have investment law, enterprise law, and investment law on PPP. So for all the information, we will have document and we'll send to the investor. So please, if you would like to know more detail about this kind of laws, so please contact us. We will send you detail. And hereby we will give you some useful website so you can got the information about for the portal of government, Ministry of Planning and Investment, and Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Industry and Trades, and Ministry of Investment Agency, National Portal on FDI, Business Registration Management Agency, and General Statistics Office, Vietnam Industry Zone, and e-procurement system. So that's all information we would like to share with you. If you have any question or any requirement, so you can drop it into the question and answer box. So we will answer. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Thang. Thank you so much for the presentation. Now, we have our next speaker, which is Mr. Thomas Zumboda, partner of CBDO of Sinkindo, Vietnam, which is part of Incorp Group. Now, Thomas will be sharing the updates and considerations of business regulations, such as corporate tax, legal, and HR compliance for foreign companies, and what to look up for and prepare before setting up your businesses in Vietnam. So without further ado, Thomas, over to you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. So I'm Thomas Svoboda. I'm a CBDO of Chekindo Vietnam company. In this 20 minutes, we will be discussing about, I will introduce our company and also Incorp Group, which Chekindo is under. I will also give a little information about Vietnam overview. And my main part is basically walk you through the process of business setup in Vietnam, information about taxation, immigration service, and so on. And at the end of the presentation, I will also share some case studies of our Singaporean clients to whom we helped in Vietnam. At the beginning, I will be, because we don't have much time here. So what we did, we prepared this Vietnam business setup brochure, which we're gonna send you to all the participants and people who are here after the presentation. So all the necessary information will be summarized there. It is nice 18 pages, so it's a great for a weekend reading. And so today will be more like general, so you can have the idea what is necessary in Vietnam. So more about our company. So we are a market entry consulting firm. Basically, we are one-stop solution partner for international companies who are interested in expanding to Vietnamese market. We started over 10 years ago. We have over 160 employees. We started in Indonesia, then we expanded to Vietnam. We have branches in Jakarta, Semarang, Bali, and Ho Chi Minh City. This year, we are also planning other expansions in Vietnamese cities. The way how we work as a one-stop solution is, and with fully speaking English-speaking team, a lot of clients are actually appreciating the way how we work, because they don't have to come to immigration agency, legal agency, accounting agency, and so on. Everything is in-house. So because of that, our company is growing pretty fast, and we have already thousands of clients which are satisfied. And at the same time, this was one of the reasons why Incorp Global acquired our company a couple of years ago. A little bit about Incorp. It's a corporate solution provider, also specializing in corporate compliance, business setup, accounting, taxation, immigration, HR services. They have total in the whole regional over 14,000 clients. Most of them are international businesses. The whole group and all countries, we are focused on all types of businesses. So you can be one single entrepreneur, you can be a consultant, you can be small, medium enterprise, you can be large global company. We have some unicorns clients as well. And so our company can support you in Incorp Global in Singapore, Australia, Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and Vietnam. So when you will, let's say, be interested also, not just, let's say, in Vietnam as today, but also in other countries in our regional group. So then Eric, as our CBDO of Incorp Global, will be introduced later, so you can discuss with him. This is the whole overview of our services. So you can really see us as a one-stop solution. We can help you with some market survey. If your business is suitable for the market, we help to set up the company, help with complete legal compliance, all the necessary licenses. Then we are focused right after market entry. We take care of the accounting, so the whole business process outsourcing, accounting, taxes, payroll. We help to set up the whole HR department. We recruit also employees. So I saw a couple of questions. Let's say Eliza was asking about local employees. So we also guide and consult about how to, because the cultures are different with Vietnamese people. So what type of people, are very solid and so on, like what's basically what we need to focus on. So we help with that, and support with M&A, with tax due diligence and so on. So full one-stop solution. The growth would not be possible without our strategic partners. So we have Singaporean government, we have International Accounting Association like Prime Global, and also some various partners globally and also locally. And some information about the Vietnam overview. So mostly it was mentioned by Mr. Kane from UOB, but the capital is Hanoi. Largest city is Ho Chi Minh City. Hanoi is in the north, Ho Chi Minh City in the south. If your business is more focused on business to government, so we would suggest establishing business in Hanoi because it's just closer there. Ho Chi Minh City is more like business-oriented city, so B2B, B2C suggestion there. Population is close to 100 million. Medium age of people is 32.5 years old. And I also pointed one important fact is that the English level of young people especially are growing. I'm living in Vietnam over 5 years now, and so I must see that the whole country is just changing, growing rapidly. Young people, they are more international, more global. The whole education system is improving and set up the way that all the young people after finishing university or 30, 35 years old, everybody speaks English. So this one is very impressive about how Vietnam is growing rapidly in this. Some promising industries. So as it was also mentioned before, but I selected a couple of them, mainly IT related sectors, fintech, edutech, AI, software outsourcing or e-commerce, but at the same time in banking, in tourism, renewable energy, F&B, agriculture, manufacturing. We can see a lot of Western companies, let's say, importing some woods in Vietnam, manufacture furniture, then goes back to the clients around the world. Vietnam also has a couple of unicorns. So there's mainly in gaming or e-commerce and electronic payments, but at the same time, let's say Sky Mavis, which is the latest big boom with their product Axie Infinity, which is in NFT. So was invested by massive large investors in USA. So this is great that unicorns are raising in Vietnam, and government also is targeting about having 10 of them by 2030. Information about business setup. So in Vietnam, there are a couple of legal entities, couple of types, but I selected these like 4 the main ones. We have limited liable company. In Singapore, it's a PTE, so same. Then we have joint stock company, we have branches and rep offices. The biggest difference between them is that LLC is very flexible. You can add as many business lines as you need. Joint stock is focused on if your company is planning to be publicly traded. Branch is basically a copy version of your parent company, which is not flexible in a way if you want to add extra business lines in a branch. So that's why I would rather suggest LLC, opening a limited liable company. And rep office is mainly for purposes is that you want to have a representative office in a way, let's say doing market research, supporting, let's say clients with the technical services or promoting your service. But rep office is not focused on making any revenues. So you cannot make any revenues with rep office. Foreign ownership can be up to 100%. You can have 1 member. It can be individual or it can be company. In LLC 1 to 50, in joint stock at least 3 members. And here I have more information about LLC because we have most clients are coming actually from Singapore. So I selected slide with LLC because most of the clients are setting up LLCs. So some regulations and requirements. So at least that 1 shareholder, some recommended paid up capital is about starting from $20,000. In some cases can be lower, it can be higher. It really depends on your business plan, like what you are planning to do in Vietnam. So we have to consider that, and of course our team is consulting you on that. You need to have a registered company or registered address. You need to have legal representative. So in Vietnam, legal rep means that you need to be at least 6 months of a year in Vietnam, or if you want to travel, so maximum up to 30 days. And so at the same time, you also have to have chief accountant. That one is mandatory from the year number 2. Here is a checklist of required documents. So at the beginning, we need to collect your documentation like passport, company documents, bank statements to prove that you have enough capital in your bank account. Then, sorry, I just have a call right now. Then the office lease must be registered. So if you, for example, don't have the office right now in the company, in Vietnam, Checkin can actually help you to with the virtual office address. And so after that, there's application for IRC, so investment registration certificate. That one is very important as a foreign direct investment company, because with IRC, then you will be working on the capital bank account, and any dividends in the future profits will be sent to your home country or to your home bank accounts. After the IRC, which takes approximately 30 days, then we are registering ERC, Enterprise Registration Certificate. That one takes approximately 1, maximum 2 weeks. And when the ERC is set up, then your company is alive. And so we're gonna have other post-licensing jobs, like declaring your company information to the government, opening a bank account. So for example, in Vietnam, we are collaborating with UOB, so we can connect you with them and open bank account there. Then initial tax registration, submitting, of course, hanging on company sign in your business location. So if you still don't have the location, Checkin can offer a virtual office service until you're going to find a new office and you will hire employees. Then investment, injecting the investment capital, that one must be done between 90 days from the ERC setup. Yeah, so from the point 4, 90 days, you need to inject the capital. And so after that, buying electronic signatures, buying electronic invoices, and then submitting basically declaration of business license fee to the tax department. Business license fee is paid every year in January, and this is mandatory, and it's approximately $130. Here are some other types of incorporation. So important is that for rep office, the minimum requirement is 1 year. Parent company must be established in a branch at least 5 years. Some limitation for rep office is that you cannot create any revenues, and it's mainly strictly like for market research or some local representation. And for branch, as mentioned, it's very limited regarding the business lines. Everything must be same as the parent company. So it's literally copy paste. We are suggesting, let's say, opening branches when you have already set up the company in Vietnam and you want to open a branch in other country, in other city. So basically, if they're gonna be doing the same services, branch is something what we suggest, and the establishment is about 1 month only. Then there are also some other strategies how you can enter Vietnam market. So the number one, FDI LLC, this is what was mentioned, classic IRC ERC process. If you want to speed it up, because that setup can take 1.5 months to 2 months, you can also buy some ready-made company. So Checkin can also help you with that. Buying over ready-made company will probably save you around 1 month. So the whole process can be just done between like 2 weeks plus some transfer jobs. Another one is that if you're not fully sure that you want to go to Vietnam, you don't know the market yet. So you can also have some local partner who will be, let's say, representing your products which are in Singapore, and on your behalf they're going to be distributing it. Here, our company, we can support you with localizing and finding a suitable partner. When you give us the full requirements of who you are looking for, we can also hold the license for your products. And when you know that, let's say, you really want to go, we also register your products, and after the registered company and process is the same as FDI LLC. Also, many Singaporean, also Western companies, they don't have the entity yet, but they want to work with Vietnamese people because they have the same work experience, probably even better. But at the same time, the labor cost on them is much lower than, let's say, in Singapore, Western countries. So we are also supporting with the employer of record service. So either helping with the remote sales representation, but at the same time, legally hiring your employees to whom you're gonna be paying salaries, paying the taxes, social health, unemployment, insurance reporting, and so on. And after that, when you decide that you wanna move to Vietnam, we set up the company and we move all the employees under your entity. Some information about taxation. So Mr. Tan was already mentioning about some taxes. So I'll just summarize it quickly here. The license fee, approximately $130 paid in every January. VAT, there is from Eliza, I believe she had a question about tax incentives. So if you have a company in technology and IT, you have exemption on VAT for first 4 years. Then some sectors, like you can see social housing, medicine, cleaning water, and so on, they have 5%, but the standard rate is 8%. And it was reduced actually from last year, it was still 10%, but for this year it's 8%. Taxes are paid on monthly and quarterly basis. On monthly basis, if your company is making a lot of revenues or you have thousands of transactions, and quarterly just the standard when most of the companies are just reporting taxes quarterly. And when you have, let's say, quarter one, so quarter one finishes 31st March, the tax reports must be done the following month. So by the end of April, all the taxes must be reported. Corporate income tax, 20%, personal income tax is 5 to 35%, depends on if you are local citizen or foreigner, or also depends on the salaries. So higher salaries, higher percentages. Information about work permit, visas, and residency. So for Singaporean who are in ASEAN, so there is no problem. But if we have some participants who are not Singaporean, they are from other countries, more Western, so then information for you is that business visa getting between 1 to 3 months, you need to have a sponsor company here. Yeah, so it can be either your partner or your own entity, so then you can get the business visa. Those can be renewed. If you want to spend much more time in Vietnam, then suggestion is getting work permit and temporary resident card. In my case, for example, our company Chikindo is registered also in Singapore, and so Singapore owns Vietnam. So in Vietnam, I'm actually an employee on the paper. So for that, I have to have work permits, and I also have to have temporary resident card. So because of that, I have to renew. So for the next 2 months, I'm all set. I just have prepared my temporary resident card. Not sure if you're gonna see it with my background, but this is how a temporary resident card looks like. Yeah, and all of the work permits, visa, TRC can be renewed. And so here are some case studies. So one of them is one client, VBase. It's a digital marketing agency in Singapore. They plan to expand to Vietnam. Didn't know any information about the law, labor code, any other information like accounting and stuff, because let's say in accounting, you need to work locally in Vietnamese language by Vietnamese accounting standards. So for that reason, client didn't know anything. So they came to Chikindo. We helped to set up their company. We take care of the whole business process outsourcing. Client is basically the whole back office outsourcing to us. And because of that, client is growing much more faster because they can just focus on clientele and business development. Currently, company has over 15 employees and keeping growing even through COVID. The next one is Elite eParts, which is a distributor in a marine safety industry. They also wanted to expand, didn't know information about like export import licenses and how to set up this company in this industry. So with this little knowledge, we help to set up the company, get all the necessary licenses, help to do all the tax and legal compliance. When the products were imported, we helped also, or we are helping with custom, with all the importation. Client is literally outsourcing the full all services on us, and because of that, they like all this worry about about compliance, jobs, and so on is reduced. We are also helping clients to hire employees. So when they need some skilled professionals, we have recruitment services. So client is basically just putting everything on us, so they can focus on the company growth. So this is one of the biggest advantage of our company. And so more than happy to answer some of your questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, without further ado, I'd like to have a big thank you again to Teck Kin, Thang, Thomas, and Eric for their time and valuable insights. And we hope that everyone has benefited from this webinar session today. So without further ado, thank you very much. And we hope you enjoyed today's session as we look forward to seeing you again in our future events. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.